Hello everyone, thank you for watching. So I would like to focus on Ghost of Yotei. It's been a little over a month since the game came out, and the game has come under fire for a lot of criticism. But by my observation, much of the criticism is not about the actual gameplay, but about irrelevant aspects of the game, such as the features of the main voice actress, the main voice actress, political beliefs, and just overall certain elements like gender and things like that. First of all, I am not a PS5 owner. I see with the PS5 that it hasn't lived up to its potential. It's very far into its life cycle, and not a lot has come out for it. And what has come out for it doesn't seem to have impressed very many people, myself included, in the grand scheme. Honestly, for me, the PlayStation 5 was a breaking point. It made me leave consoles as we know it behind, which made me go to the Steam Deck, which is the device I'm using to record this video right now. And I truly feel good about that decision because the Steam Deck gives me so much more value than I would not have gotten on the PlayStation 5. Anyway, let's get more into Ghost of Yotei. So a lot of people criticize the game for the main voice actresses Erika Ishii and her siding with Antifa. Personally, I don't side with Antifa. I find a lot of issue with him. But I feel like that the art should be separated from the artist because if we want to, really mix in what artists or performers' beliefs or actions are with their work, you would have people like Bryan Singer, who directed the X-Men movies, and James Gunn be pretty much canceled because they've been involved with some pretty horrible things. I mean, a lot of icons and big names in the entertainment industry have done some very unseemly and sordid things that would get them canceled. So that's a very tricky road to go down if you want to put in the artist with the art. So yeah, I just feel like that's kind of going into personal territory that should be kept out of the game. And adding on to that, Erica's appearance has been pretty much transferred to the protagonist Atsu. And a lot of people are complaining that the character is ugly and that somehow makes the game of lower quality and bad and just generally unappealing. But I'm like, how does a character's physical appearance add or take away from the gameplay? The two things are completely irrelevant. If Atsu was the best looking female character I have ever seen in the gameplay, in the game, that would not change my feelings about it. I personally feel like Ghost of Yotei is a average, mediocre 3 out of 5, 5 out of 10. It just has potential that it doesn't run with. I just feel like that it takes different elements of different genres to put them all together, but it doesn't go very far with it. But for some, the end all be all seems to be the character's appearance, which is completely irrelevant. They make it seem like that if Atsu resembled Eve from not Project Eve from Stellar Blade, that would somehow make the game more appealing and better, which is completely irrelevant. I don't even find Eve attractive, and I don't think Stellar Blade is that interesting either. I would put it, I guess, a little above Ghost of Yotei because I just like the physics better. A lot of people accuse Ghost of Yotei of being a game with a lot of feminist qualities, and I'm not seeing where that's coming from because I've observed a lot of the gameplay. I've watched gameplay footage a lot so far, and I don't see Atsu tearing down male characters and building up females instead. To me, she seems to be pretty much equal with everyone. She, kind of cold and distant and callous. And then even with her character development, she becomes warmer and friendlier in aspects. And she even finds male allies like Taro, a kid who scavenges off of people's bodies and offers to barter with her. So Atsu doesn't seem to really discriminate with gender. So I don't see how she's a feminist. I'm confused when people say that. An issue I have with the game, which is actually about the gameplay, is the weapon system. I just feel like that, with the swords and the dual swords and the Yari, that it kind of feels like a game of rock and paper scissors, with which certain weapons beat other weapons, and you kind of have to use this weapon to get the advantage. And I feel like that the combat is overall not very developed. It has certain features like you could kind of flow from enemies to enemies, or you could do stealth kills more effective. But overall, I think the combat's kind of little repetitive, and it's just not very extensively developed. I feel like that there should be more combo potential. There should be more unique and special moves to the weapons. I feel like they really could have and should have gone further with the combat to add to the game. And also, I feel like for an open world game, it just doesn't have much to offer. Again, I've watched gameplay of Ghost of Yotei, and it just seems to be a lot of vast emptiness. More isn't always better. I feel like that in proportion to all these games' contents, the open world should be smaller. I mean, sure, you could go around and look for certain objects that can function as currency to upgrade armor, things like that, but it's just, for all the vastness of the game, it just doesn't seem to deliver context. Sorry, it doesn't seem to deliver content much in the world size. Yeah, it just seems pretty empty relative to the size to me. You know, this is interesting because back in 2014, when a lot of this gamer game stuff started, you had people like Anita Sarkeesian accusing games of being sexist and not having good female representation. Even though you've had plenty of strong and capable female characters like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, Katana from Mortal Kombat, and even Princess Peach is taking the lead in certain spin-off games. But I just feel like that certain people have kind of take replaced her in these times that have opposite beliefs. Because I feel like that a lot of people, who would normally have traditional values are like now saying, oh, just because a female is a main character in the video game, it's woke. Even though the female character is not a feminist, doesn't discriminate men, and actually acts like a normal character. I feel like that some people are just bothered and angry just because the game has a female character. And that's a really bad mentality. And honestly, you're kind of acting like the people you would normally fight against. That's all I have for now. Thank you for watching.